What? Coffee with the prince up
Come here. How do I know if my camera's off? Oh, right there.
Yeah.
No entran todos. Entran los que llegan primero. But now, why can't I hear anything on here?
See?
Good morning, everybody. We will go ahead and get started in about one or two more minutes. We just switched over to 9 now, so we'll give people a few minutes to log on, and then we'll go ahead and get started. More respectable here.
What are you trying to do?
You can't see me, right?
No.
Okay.
One more minute, and then we will start.
Vamos acá afuera. No hablen, ¿eh?
So you're Steve Kirchner?
All right, let's go ahead and get rolling. Good morning, everybody. Nice to see a few of you. We will go ahead and get started. People can jump on when they can. We're also live streaming this through Facebook, and it's going to be recorded so that people who weren't able to be here this morning can hear it later if they would like. So I have a co-host this morning, Julie Zacharias, our outstanding vice principal, technology teacher, and all around good egg, is helping me with the meeting this morning. So Julie, if you would pull up our prayer with which we will begin.
Sorry for those technical difficulties. Give me 1 minute.
That's okay.
Hey. Hey, come on. Hey, come on.
Believe me, we're having less technical difficulties than if I would be. It's okay.
Oh my God. I don't know what's happening here.
I saw the prayer, the memoir.
Oh, it's coming up because I'm not seeing it on my end. Okay, so let me. Is that the prayer?
There we go.
Okay.
All right, so when two or more are gathered in his name, his being Jesus, that he promises to be with us. And God's infinite wisdom, imagination, the fact that we're doing it through technology is easy to overcome. So we will invoke the Lord to be with us and invoke our Holy Mother during this month of May. And so I will say the prayer, and if you just say it silently in your hearts as I say it. So we say in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, amen. Remember, O most gracious Virgin Mary, that never was it known that anyone who fled to thy protection, implored thy help, or sought thy intercession was left unaided. Inspired with this confidence, I flee myself to thee, O Virgin of Virgins, my mother. To thee do I come, before thee I stand sinful and sorrowful. O Mother of the Word incarnate, despise not my petitions, but in thy mercy hear and answer me. Amen. In the name of the Father and the Son.
Sí, mamita, por favor. Eso no es para abajo.
And indeed, we always pray for our Holy Mother's intervention with any matters regarding our school, as well as the Holy Spirit, Christ, and the Lord. So anyway, good morning, everybody. Nice to see you all. So first, a little housekeeping, how we're going to proceed. Again, this is being live streamed on YouTube right, the first time.
Oh, it's in
And
Zoom. Zoom meeting, but they're not they're watching you. No.
and it's being taped so that people can watch it later. So if you double check your microphones and make sure that they're on mute, please, so we don't have intermittent noise coming in. And then what I would ask is take advantage of the chat on the bottom of the screen. So if you move your cursor around and you come to the bottom of my image there on the bottom of the box, you'll have a toolbar that comes up, and there's one that's chat. Okay, so in that chat, you can make comments or you can ask questions. And you can either do it to everyone. If you just put in a question or a comment, it's going to show up to everyone, which is fine. Or if you want it to be just sent to me directly so that other people can't see what the question is, or you're embarrassed or shy, you don't want people to see, then there's a way to select on there so it just comes to me directly. So I have some topics to run through and talk about this morning. And then towards the end, we'll go through and answer questions. And I ask that you guys check the comments as you go along. I may read or comment on comments, I may not, but at the very least, you all can read that as part of this communication as well. So first, some news of some things that we are wanting to do. First, I want to talk about our end of the year procedure. So we have figured out a protocol for the last days of school. The last day of distant learning is going to be Friday. Oh, let me always forget the date. Friday, June 5th will be the last morning of distant learning. All the teachers will have a Zoom meeting. That afternoon, we're going to ask that parents participate and students in a teacher drive-by. So all of our teachers are going to be here on campus, and they're going to line up along the street where we usually do our pickup. So just like they did for Father Mike last week, or happens so often now, people doing drive-by birthdays and all that kind of thing. Our teachers are going to be on the sidewalk and available to wave and to say goodbye to you and the kids and say hello from the safety of the car. So especially for the students, that'll be the nice things. And frankly, nice things for the teachers and me. You know, we miss the kids. We love them and we miss them. And so it'll be nice to see them. But with that, there'll be some parameters and rules. So one of them is definitely no getting out of cars. Please don't stop for a quick hug or hello. Please don't give gifts. There'll be an opportunity later. A lot of you at the end of the year like to give teachers gifts, which is very kind and nice. And you could do so, but we'll do that when we drop off and pick up textbooks, okay? So we'll do that on Friday, the last day of school, organize a drive-by so that the kids, if you would like to, and you can drive by. We'll just make it simple, go down Orange. It'll be in a window of about 15 minutes, so we don't have to line up and block traffic beforehand, and we could be out there and wave. So that's kind of nice. So then what we organized was the last week in June. So we're going to do it on the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So the 9th, 10th, and 11th, we've already sent out, but we'll send it out again, alphabetical times when families come in. And it'll be from 9 to 2, okay? When it's convenient for you. And we ask that you bring back the textbooks. We ask that you bring back the electronic devices that you might have. We ask maybe that you wipe down and sanitize them beforehand. And the parents can come in to the classroom. Again, just common things like you're going to Vons or Ralph's, put on a mask, and you can come in and drop off the things. The teachers may or may not be there. I certainly will be there to say hello from a safe 6-foot distance. And that's where you'll pick up the report cards, and you can bring a bag or a backpack or something. We'll have some Vons bags available, but you can take up the student supplies and the different items that they left behind. Maybe go to Lost and Found one last time and pull out a jacket or something like that. So that's how we'll do the exchange. So if we spread it out over 3 days during that time frame, it should be very safe to come in and remotely have that communication. So if you wanted to drop off a gift for the teacher then in the classroom, that would be a good time to do it, but not during our drive-by. Okay. So moving along down the, for 8th grade parents that are on, we'll have by the end of this week, we'll have finalized what we want to do for our 8th grade graduation. So we're going to do a remote virtual 8th grade graduation. We've talked about different variations and different possibilities, and could that be drive-by? Could that be kids spread out in the church and different things? And it just doesn't work. And the diocese has actually told us not to do drive-by kind of graduations, because a lot of the experience of the drive-bys is people are finding it irresistible to get out of their cars and talk and hug and connect together. There's no way for us to control and manage that. So it'll be a virtual graduation ceremony of some kind, which we know is disappointing and difficult, but we have to deal with the realities of our situation. So very proud of our 8th graders. Really did a fantastic job this year, and Father Mike, the admin, the teachers, and I spent 3 days last week going around visiting all the 8th graders from a distance with our mask and gloves, but we presented their graduation robes, took pictures, and yard signs. You see a lot of yard signs. Sacred Heart has a cool yard sign as well that they can proudly display in their front yard. So we visited every 8th grade student that we could. There were some across the border that we couldn't get to, and one of our students is in Mexico City, which we weren't able to get to too. But most of our students were we were able to touch and reach them. So I want to talk a little bit now, if I can. Let me check the chat here. Oh, no questions or comments yet. That's good. It's not good. That's fine. Okay. So for Sacred Heart and for all schools, Catholic, primary, high school, one of our challenges has been, how do we handle assessments and grading in this situation? And to put it simply, we've decided that we do want to do our best to hold the kids accountable, but we want it to be a positive experience. So we want learning to continue. Again, I'm very proud of the teachers and staff. I think Sacred Heart has done a great job with distant learning. Again, that isn't to say that distant learning is the be all end all. I don't think that once we get back to normal, we're going to be challenged by distant learning schools opening up. It's just that the human element of it is just too important in education. But having said that, I think that we did a very good job. And I say that not in a braggadocio way, but I say it because I think we earned it. I truly do. I know what other Catholic schools are doing in their distant learning. I know what different schools around the county, around the country are doing with their distant learning. And Sacred Heart is right up there with them. We're really proud of the teachers. I'm proud of our community, our students, our parents as well. You guys really stepped up. So not perfect, but everyone did a really good job with that. But part of that is assignments, grading. How do we handle missing work? How hard do we want to press it? Do we want to press it at all? And so I think we've worked it out. And so with the grades, no one is going to receive a D or an F in any subject for distance learning. Okay. So this isn't just Sacred Heart that's deciding this. This is with the Diocese of San Diego. So again, we're part of we are independent Sacred Heart Parish School, but we're also part of a Diocese of San Diego, where that's our school district. So we're not in the Coronado School District. We're not in the San Diego School District. We are a school district, and there's an office for schools, and they set a lot of our policies and curriculum. So this is a policy I agree with, but this is their policy. No D's or F's, and easy goes it, gentle on the grading and assessment. So partly because of that, the awards are going to be very different in the end of the day. We're not going to have awards. There's not going to be an honor roll, outstanding scholar, most improved, that kind of thing. We'll still do Christian behavior, and we'll try to come up with some things, at the end of the year. But because the grading isn't as vigorous, and I could talk long about it. And again, it's an interesting conversation. It's kind of tough to do this way in Zoom because I'd like to hear your opinions. It's too bad we can't be in the new parish hall. Wouldn't that be cool? It will be cool when we get back, because always remember, we will be back. I guarantee it. We'll be back. But there's all kinds of ins and outs to that. So for those kids that are working really hard, is that fair to them that they're going to get an A, and a kid that's not working as hard and not being assessed in the same way is going to get an A2? Yeah, there's a little bit of that. There's no question of it. But again, there's a big picture in this whole thing, and this is very different, the stage of different learning. So our goal has been to do our best to encourage, to forward the education, to keep the kids as engaged as possible, and do the best we can to keep them moving forward, so that when we start in the fall, okay, we're as far down the road as we can be. All right. So how we've done assessments, and you've gotten emails on it. We broke it down by grade level, right? Because the middle school, 5th through 8th, 2nd through 4th, TK through K, all have their own special difficulties. They all have their different ways that they're able to adapt to distant learning. So obviously, 8th grade, middle school on down to TK, as you go down each grade level, it gets a little bit harder for the kids to work independently, a little bit harder for the kids to use the technology and so on. So I'm proud of all the parents, but our TK, K, 1st grade, 2nd grade parents, especially those younger kids that have had to go extra out of the way to help get their kids online and do work, you know, but it's hard. It's distant learning is hard, and it's hard for kids. My daughter is a junior in college. She has 1 more year at Northern Colorado. So she came home and finished the semester at home. And so I watched her in action. I was not impressed, you know, she was in her bed with her laptop, you know, doing work here. And then I'd go by and she was surfing, and I'm like, okay, she's 22. I should be transitioning out of this parenting thing. So I'm not going to get on her taste because she's an adult, right? No, she's not. She's an adult, 22. And it's terrible, you know? And because, but for anybody, it requires a lot of self-discipline to be able to manage that at home. And so again, for the students, that they've done so well is amazing. We're not hard on them. I know you're not hard on them. With what they've done, it has been terrific. So that's where we're going with the assessments. And if you have more specific questions, or there's something that you disagree with, feel free to let me know. I'll be happy to talk it through more thoroughly. Okay, let me take a drink of water. Give your ears a rest. All right, so let's talk about next year, the biggie on the plate. So let's kind of move forward down the timetable. So this summer, we were planning to do, just in case, we were still planning for Miss Rosas to move forward with her fantastic summer school. And we thought that was a great place to maybe do some remediation for the kids, kind of get them caught up in that kind of thing, because we didn't really know what the health situation, where things were going. But the diocese was very clear: no schools in the diocese are going to open summer school in any way. Okay. So the next step is, what are we going to do in the fall? Okay. And again, the diocese, the bishop, John Galvan, Father Mike, were very clear. We're opening on that first day of school. Our calendar is the same, and we're going to be here on campus. Now, are there outside forces that can affect that? Of course there are. Of course there are. We're hoping and praying and hoping that thing continues. You know, we're not opening it next week. It's going to be months from now in the fall. So hopefully the situation cools down, and so that we're able to do it, open it in relative safety. Okay. So this isn't a decision that the parents makes, okay, about whether to open or not. It's the Diocese of Catholic, our diocese, which is our school district, in consultation with the state, with county health, with other school districts. Okay. So sometimes you'll hear, well, the San Diego School District is doing this. The University of San Diego is doing this. The Coronado School District is doing this. Okay. That's not what we take our cues from. Okay. We're the Diocese of San Diego. So if Coronado does, or the school district does something, doesn't mean that we're doing it or not doing it. It's from the Diocese of San Diego makes the ultimate decision. Okay, so what we want to do is to come up with a policy, strategies, protocols to help lessen the risk to everyone involved. So we'll make some changes, and you all as parents, very fair, want to see and know what that is. And it's still in the works. It's not secret. It's, again, the diocese is working on it. We're interacting with them, and they'll come up working with other school districts to come up with policies and procedures that make sense for a school, because everything that we do has to be practical. There has to be a balance between practicality and safety. But there's no question that we can take certain actions that will lessen the risk here at the school. Okay. So for an example is, again, and I don't want to get too far into it. And again, I'm not trying to be tricky or secret. I'm a huge believer in transparency, and this is an ongoing conversation. And we can have a coffee talks all summer long talking about it when it comes out. And we want your feedback on what you feel comfortable with, what you don't feel comfortable with, okay? So I don't want to get too far into the weeds and start throwing things out there that we're going to do because it hasn't been decided yet. But for example, there are some common sense things that we know that we want to do. For example, the middle school has always switched classes 6th, 7th, and 8th and gone from room to room, okay? Well, most of the thinking is that we want the kids to pretty much stay in their classroom with their classmates throughout the day. So it's the teachers that are going to go into the 6th grade room, the 7th grade room, and the 8th grade room. That's just something that we can do to lower the risk, okay? The beginning of the school year, unless things change, we won't have morning assemblies where everyone gathers all together outside. We'll do that virtually. We'll do it, I'll be here in my office and the teachers will pull it up on their screens and so on. And, you know, we'll do our prayer and pledge that way, okay, until we get going. So some of the stuff is very sad. We probably won't have a back to school barbecue the first day of school. Breaks my heart. I love the back to school barbecue. It is so beautiful and great to get back together. And one day we will come back to school with back to school barbecue. I'm sorry if my communication style is harder. I'm difficult to follow. My brain jumps around. And I think of it as I have all these competing trains in my head, but there's only one track out of my mouth. And so they're all trying to force their way in. So I'm sorry if I digress and so on. But I do want to say, let's keep in mind that we're in this present moment. We're in this present moment, distant learning. We're going to finish the school year. Proud of the whole school community, how we did it. We did a good job, okay? And we're going to get through this year, okay? And then we're going to have next year, next fall. And again, I'm talking about that now. Remember, there's a big picture in this is we're going to get back to school. We're going to get back into our routine. There's going to be a vaccine. Yes, we'll probably keep some of these safety protocols and adopt them forever. But we're going to get back. But next fall is going to be particularly have some difficult things. So, okay, let me get back on track. Let other trains through. So we will come up with some different protocols. And it's not just keeping the students and the families safe, but the teachers and staff as well, you know, have concerns. They're exposed to a lot of kids. And I'm gonna have to change. I love to go through every classroom, you know, just about every day. I couldn't get there every day, but at least a couple times a week, walking through every classroom, touching base with the kids. I might not be able to do that for a while, if at all. So that's going to change. And you know, I'm 58, so and I'm a little bit overweight, and so I'm kind of in a risk group, although I'm healthy. But my mother-in-law lives with us at home, and she's 88. You know, so I have to be very careful about coming home. So another thing that I guarantee you that we're going to have in place for next year, I'll talk about it now, is your support as parents. Again, we're going to do this as a team. It's not us at Sacred Heart and the teachers and the principal, Peter Harris, making up rules and protocols and enforcing them, and everything's going to be okay. The parents are going to have to take an extra step. You are going to have to take your kids' temperature every morning before they come into school. And if they're on that borderline, they're going to have to stay home, okay? Kids on the borderline are going to have to stay home. Parents are really going to have to be flexible. If we call you and say, your child is exhibiting a fever, your child is coughing, exhibiting symptoms of illness, you're going to have to come and pick them up. It can't be, oh, I'm at work or I can't get away. And so again, this is going to be something that's done collectively. When your kids come home every day, wash and scrub as they come in the door, okay? So we're all going to have different protocols, not to guarantee our safety, impossible, but we can do reasonable steps to mitigate and lessen the risk to us all, okay? And also remember, this thing changes constantly, okay? So we're starting out here on campus at the beginning of the year. Okay, plan A. Plan B is we're going to be working as a teachers and staff in case we ever have to shift back to distant learning again. Believe me, I'm not going to want to, you don't want to. And it's going to be the diocese that makes that call. But there may come a time if there's a second wave in the fall. Okay, and again, I'm being very careful because we could talk about this without getting political, without being Nostradamus, without taking risks. You know, one of the things that I hear, that you all hear, is all these different rumors, all these different opinions. I heard somebody say, we all know a personality that always wants to be the first one to break the bad news, and so they're scaring you with a worst case scenario of what's going to happen or what it's going to be. All schools are shut in the fall. Oh, da, da, da. We don't know. We don't know. But we have a general idea, and we can plan for certain things in a reasonable, logical way. And so that's what we're doing. So, but if we have to go back to distant learning, let's say there's an outbreak in November, the teachers and staff and I will be working and training so that we'll be able to transition to that smoother, that it'll be more effective. Believe me, we're going to be able to be much more effective with our distant learning in the future than we have been, because we'll have time to do more training, time to see what works and what grade levels and what don't. So we'll be ready. And at the beginning of the year, we're going to take classroom time to seesaw all together in the class. And so to help and work with the kids, that you'll know the protocols at home, you'll know the homework and the assignments. So one of the things that come up is maybe if someone in the class, if someone in their family, someone in the class turns out that they have the COVID-19, it might be that class stays home for 2 days. Then we do a super disinfect on the room and the space and give it a couple of days to cool down and then come back. So it might not be the whole school, or it might just be classes. But again, now I'm getting into that speculative area I didn't want to. So as soon as we get that, as soon as we know steps we're going to take, I will not only talk about them, I will send them to you and you will see them, okay? And then as it fine tunes, as it gets more complex, as it gets deeper and deeper into the fall, okay, you will know. So that by the time we start the school year, you're going to know what to expect. And then once that happens, is it going to change it all? Yeah, we're going to change and fine tune. Again, there's a lot that scares me about this, but one of the things that gives me confidence is, again, the teachers and staff did such a great job. And collectively, we're pretty smart. And with good ideas and safe things to make it go. So, okay, stepping back a second. So sometimes it's easy to think of things just logically. We're here or we're not here. We're on campus or we're distant learning. So if we're on campus, we'll have safety protocols. We'll prepare in case, for whatever reason, we have to step back distant learning. But another thing I want to share with you today, which is important. So again, one thing I can say that we're not going to do is we're not going to be offering both here at school and an optional distant learning program. It is not fair to the teachers. It is not doable, okay? There isn't enough time in the day, and it's too difficult for them to juggle 2 balls at once. Teaching in the classroom is a full-time job in planning. Distant learning as a teacher is a full-time job. I 100% guarantee you they're working as hard and as long in hours, if not longer, especially at the beginning, they were, as they were during the day. So there's not going to be like an option, well, can we do distant learning for a while until we see? No, we're going to be here on campus, so we're going to have protocols, and we're going to hold to them. And then if a class or the school has to go out, then we'll go to distant learning. Again, this isn't Peter Harris's decision. I agree with it, but this is from the diocese. There's not going to be, we're not going to come up with exotic hybrids, because when you do, and I believe I've thought of every one of these exotic hybrids, what works out, you always come up with logistical difficulties, okay? What if we say, okay, the even classes are going to come Monday, Wednesday, and the odd classes will come Tuesday, Thursday. Well, what about all of you that have kids at home, and some stay home and some stay there, that kind of thing? I mean, it's too difficult to do, and there's a lot of other problems with that kind of model too. So we're going to start simple. We're here on school. We're going to take safety measures of mitigation to help make it reasonably safe as the best that we can do, okay? And then we're going to prepare a plan B where if we have to shift to distant learning. So today is May 20th, okay? So that's the best and the clearest update I can give you right now. We can talk more about it. We can talk offline, like not in this meeting if you want to call me and talk about it, but A lot hasn't been decided, and conditions in this thing change so quickly. So we'll see. But we're going to be here, guaranteed, whether it's on campus, which is Plan A, or distant learning, Plan B. You know, we're going to be here and doing that. Okay, let me take a second and look through the comments. Yes, we do know what the first day of school is. Hold on a second. It's going to be Wednesday, August 19th. Wednesday, August 19th. Attendance policy will be the same. So one thing is attendance is just a matter of legality. You know, they're here or they're not here. And sometimes they get hung up in what's excused or not excused, or well, they couldn't help it, or this. And I get it. That's but it's either they're here or they're not here. So we're going to keep a record of attendance, and if we have to go distant learning, we'll do attendance in the same way. But attendance will be the size. Our classroom sizes, there's not a cap because we have our enrollment done already. We have our enrollment done. We have our budget. And so the class sizes in the different classes are going to be what they're going to be. But we're not going to be kicking out students, expelling students that aren't here, that aren't enrolled in the school. So we're going to make mitigations. But basically, the cap in the school is 30. We don't like to go higher than 30. And TK, it's 25. Sometimes if there's a family that moves in and they have an extra child in an extra grade, we'll squeeze somebody in. But again, the class sizes are fluid. I'm not even going to talk about or say what they are because they always change between now and the beginning of the year. But once we get closer to the beginning of the year, I have no problem letting you know. Yeah. So okay, that's a good one from Mrs. Sable. So while you heard me say emphatically, we're not going to do distant learning and school at the same time. However, you know, again, I am open to, are we going to be able to set up cameras like for those kids that are sick? Is there a way that we can semi keep their heads in the game to encourage people to stay home more? I think that's possible, but again, I don't want to commit to something like that because again, I don't want to fall into the trap of committing to both distant learning and being in school. So those were my items to run through with the coffee talk. I wish again that we were in a forum where you could raise your hand and we could talk again. Feel free to ask me questions now. I can stay on for a few more minutes. I'm trying to think of things that I wanted to bring up and discuss that I haven't yet. No, but again, I'm optimistic and prayerful for next year. Again, very proud of the school community sticking together, and you know, we'll be here in the fall, and none of us can really predict or know what the situation or circumstances are going to be like. But I'm hoping that as life around the country kind of resumes some normalcy, and hopefully we have COVID dissipating over the summer, and we have some safe things in place. You know, we'll come up with those protocols, what we're going to be. So Mrs. Valladolid asked a good question. You know, are masks going to be required at school? I don't know yet. Maybe that's a good idea. Maybe we will. I know certainly I'm looking into, I want to get the face shields for the teachers, like everybody else, as we look into getting, you know, the thermometers, check temperature and that kind of thing. They're hard to come by and they're expensive. So we're starting now trying to buy and prepare. We're preparing and planning now for next year. It's again, the exact details we aren't ready to yet, but certainly, you know, we want to get like face shields for the teachers and then, but whether we require, you know, masks for everybody all day long, I just don't know. Again, there's so many different little details we haven't worked out. At recess, what are the kids going to do? Are they going to run around outside? Probably so. Are they going to eat lunch at the lunch tables? yeah, it's probably safe to eat out at the lunch tables, and we'll try to maybe add another lunch period and spread them out a little bit more, but they'll be out in the sunshine and so on. So, but again, and I'm going down the road I didn't want to, speculating on all the, because there's so many different variations and a lot we don't know about. So I'm holding to my philosophy of keeping it simple, starting with some basic things that we know, and then we will add and delete as things goes on. And again, there might be things that the diocese is going to give us a list. Okay, here are some things that every school has to do. Okay, and then each school site is going to get a variation on what they're able to do. There are some very kind kudos in here. And so I just want to say thank you on behalf of the faculty and staff. It means a lot. Just like you, our spirits get low sometimes, and it's difficult. You know, it's because on so many different levels. I know I feel it personally. I said this before. I am functioning well and proud of my team and able to take care of my responsibilities as principal, and my family's been safe and sound. You know, but there are times when no matter how logical and adult I want to be, I just start getting freaked out about all of this that's going on. It's an incredible time, and I don't like virtual things. I don't like computer. I don't like email. I like to talk to people on the phone. I like to talk to people in person. And so I feel it myself, you know. So it's hard. And so your appreciation is greatly appreciated. Your gratitude and we feel the same way. We feel the same way. You guys have been amazing. We know how hard it is to be parents, or almost all of us are parents as well. And we know how hard it is to be with your kids all day long and to tutor at home and all that kind of stuff. So it's been strenuous on you too, and we recognize that. But I love that there really has been a genuine sense of community throughout our school, and I mean that sincerely, and that's been a blessing to me and a blessing to the teachers. So I applaud you as well. So thank you for all of that. All right, well, those are all my items, and I'll stay on for a minute or two more. I will just add one last thing to that, because criticism is okay. Okay, we tend to think of it all in the terms of positive or negative. Okay, positive is feedback is good, negative feedback is bad. Okay. And I don't feel that way as a principal, and that's not responsible. We need data. We need opinions. We can disagree, or we can have conversations to hear things out. So I just want you to know that if you offer a different opinion, or if you express your point of view, or if you want to have a criticism of me or the teacher, you know, I've been doing this for 20 years, and I have a good track record of people laying into me pretty good and not taking it personally. I mean, a person might hurt my feelings or sting for a minute, but to move forward, and you're all part of the school family. So we need this to be a conversation, and I give you my promise to be transparent in my communication. And if I hold something back, it's not because I'm trying to deceive you or keep it secret. It's because it's not ready to share yet, because we just don't know yet, you know. But I have no problem having a discussion about here's the pros and the cons, right? Because all these things have pros and cons. So rarely are decisions black and white, but I can promise you we're thinking about it a lot. We're smart. We're working with a good team, whether it's here at the school or the parents. So we will have as safer protocols. We won't be second to anyone, whether it's Catholic schools or public schools, when it comes to our safety. But at the same time, it's going to has to be reasonable and functional for us to work. So anyway, one last thing. There is a May crowning coming up too. Miss Lou in the 8th grade class did a fantastic job putting together a May crowning. Miss Z just sent it in the chat to everyone to see. It's in your daily distant learning. Ms. Z, again, kudos to you. Shame on you parents if you're not really reading the daily distant learning, because there's always good information in there, and the heart-to-heart as well. So try to stay communicated. So thank you all. If you want to talk to me on the phone, if you want to email me some things privately you didn't want to talk about in this venue, 100% open to it. But from the bottom of my heart, thank you. We're going to finish this year strong. We got 3 weeks left of distant learning. We're going to close up the school year as best we can, and then we're going to start fresh next year. And whatever ahead of us, we'll tackle the challenge, and we're going to be okay. It's gonna be all right. Sacred Heart is a great school, and it's because of our community. And so we'll make the right decisions and move forward together in the fall. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. God bless you, and enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks.